Welcome to the Beat LA podcast. My name is Matt Ferrucci. I'm a writer-director in Los Angeles via San Francisco, and I am joined, as always, by my Bay Area compadre in crime, fresh from Beantown, from Boston, Mr. Paul Rule. Paul, how you doing?
I'm good, Matt. Yeah, I was researching one of the many enemy territories that we have. Actually, the birth of the Beat LA chant.
Exactly.
Right.
Oh, did you do the Paul Revere tour?
People aren't talking about this enough, Matt. We are in the midst of the sesquicentennial celebration for this country. I think that's right. 250 anniversary, right? Yeah. And there's a bunch of shit going down over the next year, including when I was in Boston, there was the Paul Revere reenactment because that was the anniversary of the
you
British
should have auditioned for that because I think that's a job you could get as an actor.
I feel like I could.
Paul, I haven't seen you in almost over 2 weeks, man.
I know, and you're not going to see me again for a few weeks, Matt, because I am going to Japan on Thursday for a baseball tour. A little NPB, Nippon Professional Baseball, and a little KBO.
Right.
In South Korea, I'm going to go and watch a little Jung Ho Lee scouting to see if there are any other Jung Ho Lee-ites.
Because Nick and I thought that you weren't going to Japan and Korea for those reasons. We thought you were going. What was the reason you thought, Nick?
Sex tourism.
Sex tourism.
Love hotels. We're staying at a love hotel. I'm going with my wife and my 90-year-old mother.
Yeah, Steve Groschel.
Let's just say not on this trip. How about that?
Yeah, we have some of our loyal listeners just crashed into a wall when we said sex tourism.
I don't know if you know this, Matt. So, I mean, I'm not an expert on this, but I don't think you go to Japan for the sex tour. I think you go to other parts of Asia.
You go to Amsterdam for that. I was talking to
you go to other parts of
Nick
Asia
about that before.
You'd maybe go to Thailand.
One night I took home some girl, turned out to be a lady boy, which I'd done before, but this time, instead of fucking the lady boy fucked me.
I don't think Japan's where you go for that.
Yeah, got it. Good to see your face. You look good.
Thank you. So I'm wondering, I'm thinking to myself, I know I haven't run for office yet. I'm getting kind of old, but I'm not sure me giving my thoughts on where you have a sex tour is going to be handy.
Hey, listen, you
for
can't.
My set and confirmation hearing.
Don't pull any punches here, folks. Welcome back to the Beat LA podcast.
You look great, man. I love this jacket.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'm wearing
back in black.
I'm wearing a Michelin Ness Warrior starter jacket. We're going to get to that in a second. But welcome back to the Beat LA podcast. I know it's been a couple of weeks, folks, since we've been on the air, as they say. Paul, all of a sudden, he's got a day trip hat on. Folks, this podcast today is brought to you by one of our new sponsors today, Day Trip Beverages. Forget ordinary soda, Paul. Get your fizz on with great flavor, a prebiotic punch, and clean ingredients that actually boost your vibe. Escape the ordinary. Day Trip. Paul, how does it taste? Good? Tasty, right?
It's delicious.
Yeah.
Absolutely delicious. Yeah. This is the CBD-infused sparkling water, but the prebiotics are great, much better than the popular.
Yeah. I mean, listen, sometimes when we're watching a game, folks, and it gets tense in the fourth quarter, we're watching the Warriors and the playoff push, and it gets a little squirrely. Sometimes I crack a Day Trip, and all of a sudden, everything's going to be okay. You know what I'm saying, Paul?
Absolutely. And a San Francisco brand made in California.
That's right. I love it.
Just like us.
Look at us. Hey, look at us.
Look at us.
Huh?
Who would have thought?
Not me.
Happier is healthier, Paul. Folks, this is the Beat LA podcast. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok. Also, follow and subscribe. That keeps the lights on. We got a great show today, Paul.
We have an unbelievable show
Unbelievable
today.
show.
I'm thrilled with this show for personal reasons, because we talk a lot about San Francisco, a lot of SI stuff, a lot of guys shitting on the East Bay, on the suburbs. But this guy, our next guest, is the pride of Orinda, California.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Orinda in the house. Folks, we're going to be talking Golden State Warriors, NBA playoffs, San Francisco Giants, and their hot start. Should we stay excited, or is the nosedive coming? And like Paul said later, we're going to be chatting with director Rawson Marshall Thurber, director of some of your favorite films like Dodgeball, We Are the Millers, Red Notice, Central Intelligence, and more. He just directed Voltron. He's a big 49er fan and Giants fan, and we're going to talk a little draft, a little Hollywood shit. But first, Paul, Golden State fucking Warriors. All right.
You just rubbed your jacket, but kind of your nipples. It
Yeah.
It was kind of arousing.
We were doing this on Tuesday. They won game 1 in Houston on Sunday. Game 2's tomorrow night. So when this drops, it'll either be 1-1 or 2-0.
You know what's also tomorrow, Matt? My birthday.
Happy birthday, Paul.
Thanks,
wow.
Nick. Thanks, Nick. I got a new sponsor for my birthday, and we need a win for my birthday.
Happy fucking birthday, Paul. God damn it. Let's cut to that clip.
Happy birthday to you.
So back to the Warriors real quick. Whether they win or lose tomorrow, it's going to be 1-1 or 2-0. And we got out of there. We stole home court in Houston. We did our job. Thoughts on the game? Thoughts looking forward? Thoughts about this Houston series?
I think it's going 6 or 7 because Houston's got a lot of tall guys, and the Warriors couldn't get a rebound. They're out rebounded by 22, bunch of offensive rebounds. Houston can't shoot.
They cannot shoot a lick. They couldn't hit water if they fell out of a fucking boat.
Yeah.
From what I hear, you couldn't hit water if you fell out of a fucking boat.
Stealing one on the road. What did they won 29 out of 30 playoff series? They won a game on the road.
Yeah.
They are road warriors, as they say. Anyway, this team, look, Jimmy Butler's been, what are they, 24-7 since he showed up? I think they could, I don't think they're going to win the whole thing. I think they're too old. I don't think they're quite deep enough, but they're going to knock out the Rockets.
They are. You know, to win an NBA title, all you got to do is go 12-9.
Is that right?
Yeah. All you got to do is go 12-9. All right? You just got to win 12 games.
I think you had to win 16. You got to win 16 games, Matt.
To get to the NBA Finals. Okay, hold on.
Some
To get to
math
the
there.
NBA Finals,
Well, to get to the finals.
they need to win 12 games.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
And they if they lose 9, that's fine. All
Yeah.
they got to do, it's great.
I'm actually enjoying this NBA playoffs too because there's a lot of teams to root against too. Like I really enjoyed the Clippers losing last night, the Lakers just getting bucking like curb stomped the other night.
Right. But let me tell you about what I think about Houston real fast. I think this season is this series is over, Paul.
Wow. Okay.
I think it's over. Yeah, they're big, but they can't shoot a lick. Their starting guards went 7 for 34 from the field. Those numbers, you don't see a 7 for 34 out there since you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Fred Van Fleet played like Greta Van Fleet. Did you see
that's-
what I did there? You know who Greta Van Fleet is? They're a band.
Yeah. And also Greta Thunberg as well. Okay.
My message is that we'll be watching you.
Listen, the Warriors, they look great. I just think we're in their heads. I think this is a real classic thing where experience over youth. I'm not worried about them at all. Well, at Houston, after game 1, I think Kerr's running circles around Ime Udoka. And I've never seen a team.
Well, when Kerr said, he goes, that was a 1997 game.
I've never
he
seen
basically, I think, was saying it kind of with respect, but kind of mockingly. Like, we're going to outcoach the shit out of you.
I've never seen a team so bad offensively. Paul, you know what they do? This is the Houston MO. Because they offensive rebound so well, they throw up bricks to get the rebound. That's part of their play. And it's ridiculous.
I did that at CYO.
Jimmy says Steph is Batman and he's Robin.
Batman comes out of nowhere. You never see him coming, then he just falls from the sky, from a building, behind the door, and does some incredible things, man. He's going to be the reason that we do win it all. We all know that, but we got to protect him at all costs.
I love this dynamic. Listen, I think, I don't know what the, everyone's doing the Shannon Sharp fucking memes right now, but Warriors in 6.
Okay.
Warriors in 6.
I agree with that. I would agree with Warriors in 6.
Yeah. And we're not going to see Jonathan Kuminga this series, even though I think we could use him. I think there's a way to get 10 or 12 minutes from Jonathan Kuminga, make it work, Steve Kerr. I still think he's going to be a stubborn old man and not play him.
This is the one series where they could use him.
Yeah, 100%.
They need the athleticism, they need the rebounding, but he's not going to do it. And he's gone. Is he gone after the season? He's got to be gone.
You brought something up. I think he's gone too. You brought up the Lakers. They're playing Minnesota tonight, so we don't know what's going to happen when this pod comes out. But it's so delicious them losing Game 1. That Lakers implosion. Guests, friends of the pod, John Lacey, Reggie Watkins, Elaine, Kareem. Where are you at? I didn't get the texts or the DMs.
Because they're going to say it's one game, like LeBron. LeBron's like, oh, we weren't playoff ready. They're going to come back for Game 2.
Delicious.
Aren't they delicious?
Day trip. Yeah. Just delicious.
My new favorite word, Matt, the kids say is darty. You know what a darty is, right? That's a day party. Nick knows what that is.
What is it? Darting?
Darty. Nick knows what a darty is.
Man, I'm too
Really?
old.
See, Nick is
I'm
he's so healthy.
I'm not as hip as I thought I was.
Well, no, but you're healthy. You're like doing like bike, like dating
Darty, is that
and
like
stuff.
crashing out?
No, Darty is a day party.
A darty.
Oh, a darty.
So
Okay.
a day trip is a perfect thing to have at your day party.
Hey, listen, speaking of day trip and escaping the ordinary, let's talk about the San Francisco Giants. Boom. Let's talk about some unhinged optimism. In spite of Ryan Walker blowing that Sunday game to the, I can't even say it, you might have to bleep this out, the of Anaheim.
Wait, what?
We beat the Brewers last night.
I just don't have anything to say.
We beat the Brewers last night. We're 15-8. Do you believe? Do you believe in this team?
I don't know. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't know. I thought when they choked that game on Sunday, I'm like, this is where this thing starts. There was only a 5-5 road trip. Their offense, I don't know. Casey Schmidt's already hurt. Lamont Wade is the second coming. Who was that guy last year? Who was the dude?
Oh, yeah. We watched him in Chicago, and then he got cut.
Yeah, so he's working at Ceremony Kia, and I think Lamont Wade, he's got a job waiting for Lamont.
For Lamont.
Who's not even on the interstate, by the way. He's hitting like 091.
Somebody sent me this clip recently from back in the day.
Yeah.
If Lamont can't get a job.
Tristan Brooks.
If Lamont can't get a job with Tristan Brooks at Kia Ceremony,
yeah.
I wonder if you could get a job with Paul at the Diamond Center.
So don't worry, 'cause I'm coming. I'm a great man. I'm a great man.
That would be fucking amazing. Starting pitching issues. We got some bullpen issues. We're not going to call up Bryce Eldridge just yet.
Carson Wisenhunt is looking pretty good.
Is he looking pretty good?
AAA. He just had an incredible game. 6 innings, 1 hit, 9 strikeouts. He's dealing. They don't have room for him unless one of these veterans, Robbie Ray, splits his pants and gets cut.
Lamont Wade, he needs a chicken bone cross or some live chicken curse on the bat. What do we do there?
We had an idea for him because the Gold Club has fried chicken.
Yep.
And they could go sacrifice a fried chicken at the Gold Club. Gold Club's a strip club in San Francisco.
Yeah, it is. Are you talking about a stripper named Fried Chicken?
Oh, Jesus. I don't know what's happened here. Anyway, we got a nice long interview coming up with Rawson.
Wait, hold on.
But what I would say is that I think the jury's still out on the Giants. But again, I think the good vibes are rolling. And every time I think that they're going to go and start playing like a mediocre team, they do something like they did last night, where they were down against Milwaukee and methodically made their way back. They played better baseball. Milwaukee had a couple of errors. Our buddy Camilo Duvall looks like you've nagged him into being good again.
Yeah. He looks like Robert Duvall in that one movie.
Smells like victory.
Folks, I don't know if Rawson Marshall Thurber wants to be on the pod after I drop a couple of things there, but stay tuned for a slam bam great interview with Rawson Marshall Thurber coming up next. All right, Beat LA heads, we're back. Paul, we got a special guest today. As Kendall Roy would say, we got a banger. Okay. All right. He's the perfect Beat LA guest, mixing the sports with the pop culture. He's written and directed some of your favorite movies, like Dodgeball with Ben Stiller, We're the Millers with Jason Sudeikis, Central Intelligence with Kevin Hart, which I saw opening weekend hungover in New Orleans.
Oh,
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, right.
The action film Skyscraper, Red Notice with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He just wrapped directing the live action film based on the animated series Voltron. But what he's most famous for, Paul, is playing wide receiver at Union College.
I hope not. Dear God.
He's just a diehard Giants and 49ers fan from the Bay Area. Rawson Marshall Thurber, what's up?
Hello,
Hey.
Matt.
Welcome, Rawson.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for
Very
being
happy to be here,
man. Welcome back from Australia.
Thank you.
What's it like down under? I mean, I know the toilet goes the other way, right? So
Apparently it does. I forgot to look.
Any snakes come up through the toilet? I hear that happens.
No, not where I was. It was.
Matt actually would like that. You might be into that.
I could be. Yeah, sure.
And I'd never been
reach
before.
around.
I spent 8 months in the Gold Coast, which is northeast corner and about an hour south of Brisbane, and I had the best time. It's the best professional experience I've had making a film. Great crew, great cast, and the people were awesome. And
my experience of Australia is like watching a lot of the like that Nat Geo, like smuggling dope and drugs and like cocaine is so expensive in Australia.
Ding ding! Everybody who's playing along, you can have a shot now.
Is there a lot of cocaine talk, Matt? Is that what happened?
We do this rehab game. You know, everyone's got a past. Okay. Yeah.
By the way, I just want to jump in for a second, Ross.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining.
My
You
pleasure.
buried the lead a little bit, Matt, as far as I'm concerned. he's not just a Bay Area guy. He is an Orinda guy.
That's right.
He's a Mirramani Matador.
Go Mets.
Yeah.
We are alums of the same high school.
Yeah.
So,
Did you guys go to high school at the same time or no?
I think it was close, but I think Paul might have been just like a couple years ahead of me.
see how good he is? He's a great Hollywood guy. He knows not to out how old I am.
Okay.
It might damage my
But
career.
also, you played college football. But did you played football at
Mirramani.
At
Yeah.
Mirramani?
Yeah. I love playing football. I was about an average, maybe a touch above player. I wasn't great.
Yeah.
But I started and played, and then in high school I played defensive back and quarterback. I went to Union College, which is a small school in upstate New York, Division III, although they're a powerhouse. And then I switched to wide receiver, and then I realized really quickly, like my freshman year, that I'm like, oh, I'm 6 foot. I run a 4.65, I'm not going pro, right? Like there's not a chance of that. And so I kind of pivoted into English and theater arts and kind of had my own radio show and wrote for the paper and started to kind of focus on what would end up becoming my career of filmmaking.
Everyone remembers their 40 time that was an athlete.
Yes.
I still remember mine, and I'll brag about it.
What was it?
I was a 4.8.
That's great.
But he just said 4.65.
4.65.
That's fucking fast.
That's not. I mean, I'm faster than I look, but I was never like. I couldn't break 5 right now. I couldn't break 6. I wonder.
We're gonna get into the NFL draft in a little bit, but when you watch Rich Eisen do that 40 thing, part of you go like, fuck, I want to try that and see what I can.
Yes, I actually do. I had a bunch of buddies where there was a bet that somebody said they could break 5 seconds, and I'm like, I will pay you $1,000 if you can break 5 seconds.
How many hamstrings would you?
You couldn't make it 20 years. You'd blow both tires.
Both, right?
But
I guess you can only do 2.
To all our loyal listeners right now, most of them are between the demographic of 36 and 50.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they could get under 5. 5's the threshold now.
Yeah.
Could you get under 5?
No. There's no chance for me.
You don't think?
0.
No?
0 chance.
Okay.
I have no idea. I was, though, at OIS, Ross, and he never has appreciated this.
That's Orinda Intermediate School.
Orinda Intermediate School. Okay. I set the jump rope record. I did, both in 7th and 8th grade.
Can we cut to that clip?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did 120 jump ropes in 30 seconds.
All right.
As a tennis guy, I work on my footwork.
That's fantastic.
Thank you. So there you go.
I don't think I could do that.
You're welcome. If you'd known that, he would have gone on the pod earlier.
So 4.8's good.
4.8's good. Yeah. I played second base. I was a high school baseball player.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I turned down some scholarships. My dad's still pissed. Was.
Oh man, I was terrible at baseball. I loved it, but I was just terrible. I could do everything except hit the ball. Couldn't hit the ball at all.
Yeah, hardest thing.
It is, right? And but I loved it and had the heart and the head for the game, and I could catch and throw and run, but I just could not hit.
Well, yeah. Well, let's get into the fandom here. Yeah. So you grew up. So what? I mean, obviously, diehard Niners, Giants, Warriors, the whole thing.
Yes.
Going to Candlestick.
Yes, I went to Candlestick. My dad. I was born in the city. My dad's from back east, but he transplanted out to the Bay Area, and so he was a 49ers fan. He was a Giants fan. He didn't love basketball, but he was a Warriors fan, and so I grew up on all that stuff. So I grew up, I grew up with Dwight Clark and Joe Montana and Ray Wersching, etc. And then on the Giants side, like my world was Will Clark and Matt Williams, and then Barry Bonds when he came in, Robbie Thompson, Hum Baby, the whole thing, right? Yeah. And when I was, I think in 3rd or 4th grade, I got to interview Will Clark in the Giants dugout.
Look at you, that's where it starts.
But Ray Ratto is the guy who hooked me up. I called up the San Francisco Chronicle and said I have to do a report for school, and I want to be at the first baseman for the Giants, and can I meet Will Clark and Will the Thrill, of course. And Ray Ratto hooked me up. He was like
that's incredible. He seems like such a curmudgeon. I can't imagine
he was
that
the
nice
nicest man, the nicest. And I still email him when I can just to remind him how grateful I am for that moment. And then anyways, so and then the Warriors, I grew up with Ernest Marshall Lonis, Run TMC, all of that. So that's my era.
Right.
But you're an East Bay guy, because I get asked this question all the time. They're like, how are you a Giants fan?
Right. So
and I like, why are you an A's? Yeah. And I'm a little older than you, so the Raiders were still there. The first iteration of the Raiders were there. My story is that when the Raiders moved to LA, I was angry at the city of
Yeah.
Oakland, and I
Yeah.
switched allegiance. It helped that the 49ers won the Super Bowl that
It does
year.
help, right?
Yeah.
It's nice to be a winner. But I was always San Francisco Giants and Niners. It's for my dad, and that's where I was born and raised. And then we always liked the A's, but it was kind of American League, so
You got to make that choice when you're out there. You have
American
to,
League, so you don't like the DH.
I didn't then. I do now, just because now
Same.
it's now fair, right? Because when you're looking at free agents, one team has a, you can get a DH, the other one league can have a DH.
We were getting along
so
well, Ross, and I.
You don't like the DH?
I don't like the DH.
I was
at
a
all.
purist, and then after about 3 years,
Yeah.
I was like, "This, I'm okay with this because it's
it's equal, right? To me, like in American and National League. So it's either it's out or it's in. But having one league have it and the other doesn't affects, I think, lots of stuff.
Granted, it's great to have more substitutions. There's more managerial strategy.
Yeah, there's
and
nothing. You
stuff.
don't do anything in
With the
now.
DH.
You don't have to do anything.
But I miss the strategy, and
I'm with you.
I miss Bumgarner hitting 2 homers in opening game against.
I love
against
it, but
the
then
D-backs
you
and whatever
walk
that
number
was.
8 and you strike out number 9 like every time. Like
And I also
I'm
think
with you though.
in Major League Baseball, that's the one sport you shouldn't have instant replay.
Oh really? Why do you think that?
Because NFL football, basketball, I get it. It's happening so fast. But in baseball, because of instant replay, we don't have any arguments anymore.
Oh,
we don't have umpires and managers
Yep.
screaming at each other and the players. That's what I miss a lot about that.
Yeah,
So,
it's much more rare. That's for sure. I appreciate that you like the argument.
what's some of the do you have any seminal games that you went to as a kid?
Man,
do you remember your first 49ers?
I remember.
in person or
Yeah, I remember watching. Well, one was on. I remember watching the Niners Dolphins Super Bowl on my TV. And
The Stanford Stadium, is that the one?
Yeah, Stanford Stadium. Yeah, and I remember that's I think one of my earliest 49ers memories of just like screaming at the TV and being so into it. And then I remember watching. These are all on TV, not in person, but watching the '89 Super Bowl with Cincinnati and the Drive.
Yeah.
But I would, I go to games as many times as I can. I try to go to 2 Niner games a year if I can from down here.
Right.
One of my favorite days ever was Alex Smith was playing right before he got injured and Cap came in.
Yeah.
They were playing Buffalo, and I think he had like 23 straight completions. But I saw my wife, who is born and raised Los Angeles, even though that's a whole other conversation. Yeah. So we flew up. We went to the Niners. It was a Sunday game. We went to the Niners game at 1:00, and then that same day drove to I think it was Pac Bell at the time, Oracle, to watch the playoff game that big time Timmy Jim was pitching in. I think against, I don't know if it was against Philly or Atlanta, but he struck out 14.
Okay.
In the NL Division Series.
That's Atlanta.
It was
That
Atlanta.
was at Atlanta, though.
No. This was
game 1.
Game 1, yeah.
It was at
He struck out
was it?
14.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
that
remember
was
the game.
like
I don't know why.
that was like a joyous.
You went to
day.
both games?
Yeah, the
That's
same
amazing.
day.
That's an
And,
amazing
like
day.
trying to get out of the Candlestick parking lot was a fucking nightmare. And have you guys been to Levi's yet?
I loathe it.
Yeah.
It's a Lego. It's a college Lego land.
It is such a
stadium.
shame, isn't it?
It is.
And
It
I
really is.
obviously love the team, love
course.
all of it.
Yeah.
But that stadium is like, we deserve better. Like
do.
you go see the Giants play at Oracle, and it's like, I remember the first time I went,
Right.
and I was like, I am so glad that I get to watch baseball here for the next 50 years, because this is a perfect stadium, right? Perfect.
Yeah, and then you can walk down the street to Chase and watch the Warriors.
Oh, I haven't been back to the bay since that opened up. No good?
But what me and Paul complain, it's like watching a game at the Bellagio.
Oh, fuck.
And all in that first bowl is all the tech billionaires. So it's lost some of that
that's too bad.
that Oracle East Bay thing where it was a tough place to play.
What did you talk to Will Clark about when you were in 4th grade?
I actually have the audio tape still.
I need to get a clip
and it
of
was
that.
like I was in I think 4th grade. So it's like, what's the hardest pitch for you to hit, and what's the easiest pitch for you to hit? How did you become a baseball? Like it didn't have great questions.
He was my favorite guy.
Oh, for sure. How could he not be?
I mean, the Pacific Stock Exchange.
Yeah,
Kevin
yeah.
Mitchell, baby.
I mean, I had the poster.
I had the poster too.
Kevin Mitchell,
in my garage.
the greatest.
He's the greatest.
Yeah. With that,
I have a fantasy baseball team because I'm a fucking dork.
Yeah.
And my fantasy baseball team, Nick, is called Kevin Mitchell Big Dicks. Because why wouldn't he? Come on. All right.
Right.
Yeah.
He goes bareback when he catches the ball.
That's
doesn't
right.
even
He
use a
doesn't-
glove.
he doesn't
just
even use
like
a
you,
glove.
man.
that was awesome. Yeah. Do we have just but on the Giants, do we have the best play-by-play announcers we have to, right? John Miller, Dave Fleming, Kruk and Kipe, like those guys are the
How's Kruk and Kipe not in the Hall of Fame?
Because there's two of them. You can't split them.
You can't. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, they can't. They keep trying to split them. They can't put them in together.
Yeah.
And because they keep splitting them, one doesn't get enough votes.
Is that right?
They'd have to change the bylaws. I'm a big baseball nerd. They have to change the bylaws.
I didn't know that. It's the first time I'm hearing that.
Of how the balloting works for
But
Hall
just
of
listening
Fame.
to those guys, listening to John Miller he's only doing home games now.
Isn't it amazing
right?
that John Miller got fired by the Orioles? That's how he ended up.
That's unbelievable.
He was announcing for the A's when he was like 19 years old or something like that.
He's the best.
Yeah, he's great.
What I love about him now, though, is he's getting he's older now.
Yeah.
So his forgetfulness is actually really endearing. Like something will happen on the field and he'll go, "That was incredible." And you're just waiting, what happened, John? And he'll eventually get there. Yeah.
Because those guys are so good, their bench is very thin, though. Like we were talking, I don't like Joe Rizza or FP Santangelo or any of the backup guys.
I just heard Joe for the first time yesterday listening, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
You're like, maybe I should audition for this job.
And the color guy, I thought was like...
Isn't it Javi Lopez or no?
No, it was FP Santangelo.
I think Javi's good, actually.
Javi is
He's
good.
good.
Yeah.
He's good. But I was telling Paul last week when they debuted, or 2 weeks ago, they debuted that City Connect, those New Jerseys.
Yeah. Are they terrible?
We think they're terrible.
Yeah.
We put out a reel talking about how terrible they are, and we got hammered on
right?
social media by Giants fans.
Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, people are coming after us.
So one of the just on the City Connect. So I know we were talking before we started that one of the highlights of my professional career is that I got because I was promoting my Red Notice, which was my last movie for Netflix. I got to throw out the first pitch at the Giants game.
Yeah.
And I was so excited.
Yeah.
It's like bucket list thing.
Yeah.
Except it was on a Tuesday night against the Padres.
Okay.
So the jersey that they gave me was the orangesicle.
The creamsicle.
The creamsicle.
Creamsicle.
Does it have your name
City
on the
Connect.
back?
Of course, it's framed. It's on my.
I don't
It's
know
a
why
whole
you're not.
thing.
Oh, framed. I was going to say, we should wear that today.
It's framed forever, but like I couldn't get a Friday black or like a
Yeah,
Sunday
an orange one.
I
Yeah.
bet they'd give you another one.
Sunday black.
So you're the second person, actually the
podcast.
third person we've had on that's thrown out maybe the first pitch. Did you bounce it?
No,
Boom.
please.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry. I'm sorry.
How dare you? Well, first of all,
Do you have a clip of that? We may need to find that. Can you get us that?
I'll send it to you.
Thank
Now
you.
look, it was a good 0-2 pitch. It had some movement on it.
Okay.
It was low and away. Did not bounce.
Yeah.
It's probably not a called strike, but it's a good 0-2 waste pitch.
Got it.
Did you throw a fastball, or did you figure you'd throw a little
four seam fastball from the rubber.
Okay.
The whole thing.
Who caught the ball?
They have a lady coach there whose name I'm not.
Nakin.
Yeah, she was great. She was just
got
like
it.
dink, like no heat on it whatsoever.
Gotcha.
But I practiced because I didn't want to bounce it, and I want another run at it. What they don't tell you, and maybe your other guests have told you this, is when you show up to throw the first pitch, there's no place to warm up. Like they take you into like what amounts to like a small parking lot sort of behind the stadium.
Right.
And you get to throw a few pitches with somebody who maybe doesn't know a lot about baseball, right? So you don't want to like throw it too hard because like that you're worried that person might get hurt. And so you're throwing it to warm up.
Right.
And then about 25 minutes later, when you're ice cold, they say go on out there. So there's no value in warming up whatsoever. And I went out there, and of course it's like before the game starts, obviously, and people are still taking their seats. The stadium's maybe half full, and they announce your name, and I go out there and I wave like Lou Gehrig, like this, like I'm waving, and there's nobody looking at me. Nobody gives a shit. And I'm like, thank you. I'm waving to everybody, turning around to the back, like But for me, it was a big moment. My family was on the field. I got to have my son with me, and my dad was there. And
the greatest.
Watch what I'm about to do. So we talked about that. We have a new sponsor.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have had a day trip to calm you down before you.
Wow, this looks delightfully refreshing.
Like a day trip soda.
Yeah, day trip
You did
soda.
a little stuff about product placement.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, happier is happiness. Okay.
Is
that's
that
one of the
what
things. I mean, hold on, Rawson, hold on. What a sec. Let me just say something here real quick. Just escape the ordinary.
That's what I've heard.
Escape the ordinary.
Let's do.
The best first pitch story ever, though, was the George Bush after 9/11 at the World Series.
Yeah.
He comes out, 60,000 people at Yankee Stadium, and he's practicing underneath in the batting cage.
Yeah.
And Jeter walks by and goes, "You better not bounce it."
To the president.
To the president. And he said all of a sudden he was like, he wasn't nervous until Jeter said that. Yeah. When he threw
and then he threw a strike.
Fucking strike. Cut to the clip. Let's get into like right now.
Hold on, I just want to so you've had an amazing post because you also, I read this because I do research. Yeah. You're in Madden 18?
Yes.
Is that right?
I think this? 18, 19, and 20.
Wow, how did that happen?
There's a guy named Mike Young who was the lead game designer for Madden, and he created a game within Madden called Long Shot, where you play as it's a single-person player, and you kind of go through the draft and become drafted, and da-da-da-da. And so they reached out to me because they knew like sports about, would you mind reading the script? And, it's a narrative piece and blah, blah, blah. And I said, I already played Madden. I play NCAA football obsessively. And I said, well, of course. And I said, I don't want to be paid. I don't want a single dime. The only thing I want is for my likeness to be in the game, and I want the announcers to say my name. That's it. And they said, great. Right. And that was it. And so I read the script and helped. Mike Young is super talented. He's a filmmaker in his own right. He's off making a great movie. And so we became friends, and he just kept keeping my little ones and zeros in the game for a couple of years.
Did you have to? Did they actually put the things and then?
Yeah, they scanned me
scanned you and everything.
And yeah, it was great. It was
that's
like
incredible.
That's how you know you've made it.
What announcer says your name?
I think it's I can't remember the two announcers in.
But someone
Madden
famous.
Now. Yeah, one of the broadcasters.
Guys, one of the broadcasters, like Joe Buck-ish.
Yeah,
in that world.
And because I went to Union College, Mike wrote some funny and Dodgeball. Mike wrote some funny lines for them to say about me. So if you put me in the game, they'll say some dumb stuff about me.
Oh, that's fucking great.
Yeah, it was those are actually the two highlights of my career: is being in Madden and throwing out the first pitch.
As is.
Yeah,
forget the movies. Yeah. Who gives a shit about any of that stuff?
Not as important to me.
Fan, let's get into the 49ers now.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Okay, last season was tough. I know you were in Australia. Did you get to watch some of the games?
So I did. Yeah. So I started. I've been away for 8 months, so I apologize for my lack of up to the minute knowledge.
But we're going to talk about Australian rules football and cricket.
That is
weird.
Weird. I got Daz and DAZN to watch all the games, and I started watching, and then when you're making a film, your bandwidth gets so narrow, and the time difference. Like I was getting up at 3 a.m. to watch the games for 3 hours before I would go in to shoot, and then when the season took a turn, I was just like, this is the year, the one season in the last 50 or 40 or whatever that I'm going to just take a pass. Yeah. So I didn't, I would check in, but I wouldn't watch obsessively as I typically do.
The team felt it, Ross.
I honestly would like to apologize to everyone.
But also
I think it's me.
God, because
6 and 11 is not
great. You needed to stay focused. I did. And you did not need them to be good for you last year. So it was kind of a silver lining.
So I've had a complete sports blackout for 8 months and news blackout for about 6.
That must feel cleansing.
That must feel good.
It's awesome. Yeah. I know you can't do it because of the podcast, but it is so freeing.
My wife would like me to do that.
It's so
that's
freeing,
for sure.
and now I feel, as you said, cleansed, and I'm ready to dive back in. I'm ready to love again.
And you came back, and the Giants are fun again.
Yes, sir.
Which maybe so you're good timing on that.
Yep.
The Niners have a number 11 pick. When was the last time we picked that low, where we didn't waste a bunch of draft picks on Trey Lance? It's going to be a fun draft.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. I mean, the Niners 11 pick. The draft is going to be Thursday, so this is coming out Thursday, folks.
And they want to trade down, as everybody does.
There's so many rumors out there, Paul. There's another rumor out there that's floating around these days that the Niners might trade Brock, and I know that sounds crazy.
That sounds insane.
But there is that talk happening.
They got Mac Jones now.
There is that chatter about apparently he's got some Nashville ties. He's got some Tennessee ties. He works out there.
Yeah.
They got the number 1 pick. It's getting some steam. I know I'm talking like New York Post shit here.
But
trading Brock,
way.
There's discussions internally.
They would trade Brock to Tennessee for the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
And pick who? Cam Ward?
I don't know.
I mean, you got to pick Carter.
They get a better. They just get a better deal. They don't have to give him that 40 to 50 mil. Yeah. Here's the thing: do you give Brock Purdy the bag? I know you've directed some big budget movies where these stars have their quotes and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've been in that room. Like, give him the $20 million. Do you give Brock? He wants at least 53 because that's what Tua's got.
Yeah.
Well, they're also saying 20% of cap is what these guys want, which is actually closer to 60 now.
Pay him.
100%.
Yeah.
Pay him. Move on.
PMA,
100%.
move on.
So you're not a Mac Jones guy.
You guys don't like Brock?
We love Brock. We're
Okay.
just Brock stands over here.
Yeah,
as the kids would say.
I think if he wasn't the last pick, if he wasn't Mr. Irrelevant, this would not be a conversation.
Your news blackout though, the last year.
Please tell me, did he struggle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he didn't. I mean, he
didn't have BA. That's a whole other conversation.
Right.
He didn't have CMC. Right, except for like 3 games in the middle of the year.
Also,
is that right?
Kyle, we talked about this on the pod all season. We felt like he had something going on, like at home, like he had a girl on the side, or his wife wanted to divorce him, because the way he coached seemed like his mind was elsewhere.
Oh, that's interesting.
So his play calling, he stopped doing the motion stuff. I didn't think he put Brock in the right position.
We think that he wanted to pull a Belichick and start dating a 24-year-old.
Something like that.
I mean, good for him.
Right.
But that's so interesting because I'm a huge Brock fan. Like all day. Hitch my wagon to that guy. Like I'm Team Brock, but I didn't see most of the season.
If you were shooting stateside, you would have been on this pod going, "What the fuck?
I mean,
what's wrong with him?
What's wrong with him?"
Yeah, the constant battle with him is whether or not he's a game changer, or he's sort of this Jimmy Garoppolo. Better than Garoppolo.
For sure.
Yeah. Were you a Garoppolo guy?
I was a Jimmy defender, an apologist. He's just because he's so handsome. Like
he's a lot more fun to party with too.
For
right?
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's a straight up himbo. Like he's not the brightest guy. By all accounts, but real handsome. And that goes a long way for me in quarterbacks. Like I'm like, yeah, that sounds right.
I love that.
He looks right.
Interesting.
Like,
Interesting.
But Brock, I think, is the real deal.
Who are your 3 most handsome quarterbacks? Is Tom Brady up there? Joe Namath?
Of all time? Oh gosh, that's a tough. I mean, Joe,
because there's so many. I think the better question is, as Niner fans,
Joe Montana, underrated handsome quarterback.
If Jeff Garcia had Jimmy Garoppolo looks, his career might have been different.
There's no question about that. Jeff Garcia, bless him.
Bless him.
Bless him. He doesn't get enough love as a Niner quarterback.
But is Brock Purdy any better than Jeff Garcia?
Well, Brock Purdy's got some scoot to him. Like he can get out of trouble in a way that Jimmy couldn't.
He did that. He did a lot of that last year.
I'm sure he had to. Right.
And he's got some dog in him too.
He's legit, man. I just pay him. Just pay. Like, what are we doing?
Right.
We've been looking for a quarterback for decades.
But this is the thing that's maddening about the Niners, and so it took forever to sign Trent Williams last year. It took forever to sign Ayuk. He got hurt.
That was rough.
They're slow playing Kittle on his deal. They always play these guys late. Dominic Lenore, they should have signed before the start of the season. They waited. He got more expensive. They slow play all these guys. And everyone's like, oh, Purdy's going to take a deal. He's not taking any kind of deal.
Yeah.
Either just sign it.
The deal you had was for the last 2 years of him playing for peanuts. I mean,
they always talk about this contract. You don't pay for the future. You actually pay for the past.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure. And we have a lot of unhinged friends that are saying, well, we don't have to pay him. He's on the last year of his deal.
You can tag him 3 times.
And then you can tag him, but he'll hold out.
Yeah, he won't hold out. I bet he won't.
That's not the relationship you want for your quarterback, right?
That's right.
I understand you can do that on paper, but that's just not how. That's not the relationship you want the organization to have with the face of your franchise.
It's like Rawson, when you're on. It's like when you're on set and you know that one of the stars is unhappy. That's not good.
It's never good.
It's not good.
No.
No, we don't need that. The movie's going to suffer, baby.
We can't have it. You can't have it. You can't have it. You want to keep your stars happy.
Yeah. Who's he throwing to? I feel like, listen, this is not a dig. This is actually a backhanded compliment. I feel like with Debo gone and Ayuk not coming back till midseason, it's Brock throwing to like 3 or 4 Rawson Marshall Thurbers.
That would be a nightmare. No, I think that, Debo leaving broke my heart. No, Madden version of me, I think is a 36 overall, which does hurt. I get that I'm not a 50, but 36, I mean, I guess, anyways, pretty rough. But I would say Debo leaving broke my heart. I mean, I get it. It makes sense. He's going to Washington.
Right.
That's going to be great. Adam Peters over there knows what he's getting.
Yeah.
He's just such a great leader on the team, right? Did you guys ever watch JT O'Sullivan's breakdowns on YouTube?
Yeah.
He does a great job every season with Brock stuff, and he has an opinion about Debo. But anyways, I'm going to miss Debo. BA not coming back till midseason, and also with the knee, like you just don't know. Like usually that's one season you kind of come back, you're not all the way there, and then it's the season after, right? So that's just a bad deal for the Niners, bad deal for BA. You don't want to see anybody get hurt. But also, you're paying, you paid him top dollar, and then it just, sometimes it goes like that, right?
Yeah.
So no good. Ricky, tell me, we like him?
I like him. I think he looks. I think Juwan Jennings.
Juwan Jennings is
great.
awesome.
But we need a burner. We just need someone to take things off the top.
Yeah.
And we don't have that.
But we draft those guys. We drafted what's his face Gray, and he can't get on the field.
But that's because also Kyle doesn't like young.
Cowie's supposed to be
He doesn't
that
like
guy.
young guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he also he doesn't give a shit about speed because he schemes open people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it helps to have somebody run the 9 route and clear out the safety for a cross, but we've never been a chuck it up outside the numbers team.
No.
Except Brock can actually do that, which Jimmy couldn't.
Yeah, Brock likes to throw.
Even though he doesn't have maybe the strongest arm, but he can.
He's got some gunslinger.
He certainly does. But I guess to me is you can always, in finger quotes, find the fast guys later in the rounds, just like Kyle always finds great running backs undrafted or later in the rounds. So to me, it's about what I thought was interesting, and there has to be a reason. I'd love to know what you guys think of this. When Cooper Kupp was released by the Rams, that seems like a perfect Kyle player, but is he just done?
Well, he's a little bit older. He's coming off an injury, and they overpaid. It's the salary. Again, we're trying to save money. We cut all those guys because we need to sign Brock.
Yeah.
So,
Charvarius Ward going, that hurts, I think.
You're a big fan of him.
I thought so. I thought he was pretty damn good. You guys don't like him?
I love him. I love his first name.
He had a rough year last year. His
Did he?
daughter
Oh,
died.
his daughter
and that
died.
whole
That
thing,
was-
and he basically was like, San Francisco's cursed. I got to get it.
Is that right? Is that what happened?
Yeah, he basically said that.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
I didn't
actually
know that.
interesting. Yeah.
I'm so sorry to learn all this on your podcast,
No,
but
no.
this is great. This is great for me.
Call us anytime, Rawson.
So what's happening?
What's going on in
Yeah.
Niner? Well, let me throw you this. The draft is Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay, and so this pod's coming out, but I'm going to throw some names out.
Yeah.
And we're kind of tourists here.
Okay.
Apparently, everyone's saying we got to go D-line, O-line.
Yeah.
The trenches last year, we weren't getting any pass rush, and we couldn't run or protect Brock.
Yep.
So those are the places we need to
buy that?
replenish. What's that?
Do you believe that?
I believe that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it was they're thinking Mason Graham, defensive tackle out of Michigan. Okay.
He's not going to be there at 11.
Offensive tackle Will Campbell out of LSU.
Yeah, he's a big
Or
boy.
Kelvin Banks from Texas.
Yep.
That sounds like a big boy.
Yep.
Or Jalen Walker out of Georgia, but he might not be there.
Oh, I don't know enough to know.
Yeah, he looks evil. He looks like a Lawrence Taylor's
You just dropping
illegitimate son.
names like you did research.
I don't know. I mean, or we could go cornerback. Will Johnson out of Michigan.
Yeah, he's legit.
I love that you know him.
Yeah, I know some of those guys.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad. First of all, I'll say I'm glad we have Robert Saleh back.
Yes.
That was their best
having
acquisition.
Yeah, I think you're right. And one of the biggest problems I think in the last 3 seasons has been not having the right DC, right?
Yep.
And I went to the Super Bowl in Vegas with my wife.
I was there too. I got COVID there.
You did?
Did you give it to me?
I might have. I wish I gave everybody on the Chiefs.
Thought there'd be like a shared Orinda immunity.
That was one of the most painful joyous and painful sporting experiences of my life.
I went to the one in Miami where I went to both. So
I didn't go to Miami.
And
That broke my heart.
I agree. The Vegas was more painful. There was something about the Miami one. Maybe because I was in Miami. Maybe because I was single. My wife, Kristen, I love you. But I had a good time with our friend Aaron White after they lost in Miami.
Yeah.
Whereas I just got COVID after the one. But there's something. It felt like the window was closing after they lost the one in Vegas. Right. I'm like, how do they do this again?
That was so rough. But back on the draft, I mean, I think 100% trenches. There's no doubt about it. And that's where we've found our success. Like we've got Nick Bosa, who's sort of underperforming after his MVP season. He got a big contract. He's, I watch him every play.
Yeah.
That's where my eyes go. I don't watch the ball on defense. I watch Nick Bosa, and he beats his guy 6 out of 7 times every snap. He doesn't quite get there most of the time, but he's a dominant player. There's nobody else.
Yeah.
There's nobody. We don't have DeForest Buckner. We don't have Armstead. We don't have
been searching for that
Hargrave.
guy.
We don't have, right. So
for a long time.
So then like TJ Watt's going to leave the Steelers. That's the rumor. Why don't we go get him? We couldn't get Joey Bosa to.
Unfortunately, we have to develop somebody because of the cap.
Yeah.
Question.
By the way, that was a rumor too that Brock for TJ Watt, wasn't it? I mean, because they need a quarterback.
I didn't hear that one, but I like how you're making that one.
But just on that, right? So then let's say that happens, right? TJ Watt, maybe the best pass rusher in the league. I mean, probably
arguably,
is.
sure, yeah.
And I mean, that's an insane bookend. Like that's amazing.
Bananas.
So then that brings up the question then, what do you think about Mac Jones, right? Because I'm of the opinion that what Kyle did to get, and I said this at the time, I can show you the text messages, I have receipts, that the trade up for Trey Lance was the worst trade in the history of the NFL. There's not a worse one.
I don't disagree. Our friend Aaron White will.
Sure.
There isn't. I mean, you can say Jamarcus Russell, but that's just a number 1 pick missing.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. We traded 3 first-round picks for the 3rd overall pick.
Yep.
Who probably would have been there at 11, right? And he started 2 games for us. And he's in Dallas and he can't see the field.
And look at the domino effect. The reason why they have to pay all these guys now is because they haven't been able to properly reload through the draft.
Exactly correct, Paul. Yeah. And so not only was it the worst trade in the history of the NFL, the most expensive for the least payout, right? And if Brock isn't Brock, we are capital F screwed, right, in this situation. That there's nothing close. Not even Ricky Williams, not even an entire draft for one player.
Yeah.
Like and Ricky Williams is a stud.
Yeah.
Right. But that's just one.
Herschel Walker trade.
The Herschel Walker, but
right?
Even still, like Herschel Walker is Herschel Walker, right?
Right.
Trey Lance, bless his heart, right?
Hindsight's 2020. I mean, at the time we were all like, okay.
I don't know if we were all okay. I mean, Jimmy was still there, and and Trey Lance was totally unproven. The guy was North Dakota State.
No, I get it.
And COVID. I mean, it was during COVID. He hardly played.
Let's say Brock finds Jesus and quits the league, and he's like,
I think he's already found Jesus, but he
finds him even more. Right? Like gonna hang up my spikes.
In the conclave, he actually wins. He becomes the new pope.
If you want to defeat Tedesco,
this is a conclave, Aldo. It's not a war.
It is a war, and you have to commit to a side.
He seems like the best person ever, and I love his fit game.
But I like this hypothetical. What's the question?
So the question is, how, Paul, would you feel if we're like, Mac Jones is our guy? Mac Jones, we're gonna.
Can I take this?
You take it. I got a thought on this too. Great question.
If Mac Jones is our guy, this is sacrilege.
Are you buying or selling?
I'm completely selling, and I'm driving to Las Vegas, and I'm buying a fucking Pete Carroll T-shirt with the Raiders on it. That's how much I fucking hate Mac Jones.
Oh my God, really? Okay,
Mac Jones is not him. As like that Jordan Peele movie coming out.
Yeah.
He is not him.
Okay.
Oh no, he is a system guy. He's a check down monster.
Okay.
I think mentally he's not the guy. He's not athletic.
Yeah.
Kyle thinking he could turn him into something, the hubris of Kyle.
Yeah.
It's not Sam Darnold either.
Yeah. Sam's got physical skills.
I think it's suicide to make Mac Jones the guy.
By all accounts, this is the guy that Kyle wanted to draft 3rd overall and then got talked out of
Insanity.
Yeah. So you think you're a seller on Mac Jones?
1,000%.
Okay. Yeah. Paul?
This is great. I love being on the side of the questions. You're good at this. I mostly agree with Matt. I do think the bigger problem. I think he'd be okay. Mm-hmm. I do think that the Niners like to go around the edges of like, hey, how do we get a guy to leave in free agency or a coach to get hired so we can get more draft picks? But it's a Kyle problem because Kyle thinks he can coach up anybody.
Yeah.
Right. And Kyle hubris is what concerns me about it. As Kyle actually believes it.
Yeah, but you don't think he can?
I don't think he can next year.
Because of the talent disparity, because of the lack of talent?
Yeah, I just don't think he can do it that one. I mean,
especially with the talent disparity. With not having a Debo
or
Brandon Ayuk.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
what I mean. Like the roster isn't what it was.
Yeah, 100%.
Sorry to keep asking you guys questions. I know it's your show, but so Kyle Shanahan, where would you put him in your current NFL coaching hierarchy? Where do you rank him?
Forever I'd have him in the top 3, top 5, just from a scheming standpoint.
Yes.
I think there's a bit of a Steve Kerr syndrome with him, where for a lot of years he was the smartest guy in the room, and he knew that, and it was fine. I think the league has caught up to him. If you're watching what a lot of teams do now with their emotion, the way they do the run pass option stuff, the league has caught up to him, and he hasn't adapted. You look at Steve Kerr,
right?
Everyone's adapted to him. Everyone's doing the small ball, chucking up threes. And this year he's kind of like, I got to change the way I do. I think Kyle's stuck in his ways. Last year he wasn't running any motion. You barely saw Brock under center, much less utilizing the fullback. I don't think he knows. I think he's a little on tilt, as they say.
Would you rather have Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay?
Sean McVay.
Yeah.
Really?
These are great questions.
Right now. No, I'm saying now. I'm not saying whenever.
And that happened last year.
The other thing I'll add to it, and then we want to start asking you questions again, Rawson, but the thing I'll add to it, so we do a little thing on this podcast sometimes called Self-Help Corner. So Matt kind of does the X's and O's, and I try to get inside the head, right? Because I was a head case.
Yeah.
My college tennis coach said I had a $100 game and a 2-cent head. So I understand when guys feel like they can't win because of, and Kyle's fucked in the head now. He's choked too many times.
Yeah, that's right.
Started with the 28-3 Falcons, right? He's now blown 2 Super Bowls.
Yep.
Kyle is fucked in the head. That's why he got a mistress last year, we think, allegedly.
Allegedly who?
Try to make him. We just said
are you just making it up, or that's a rumor?
Okay. He started getting a mullet and not shaving and mustache, and they won't let him wear the lid he wants to wear. The NFL's cracked down. He has to wear an NFL mandated lid.
No.
Anyway, I just think Kyle's having a mental. I think mentally he's just off now.
Well, I think the thing with Sean McVay, if you've seen how he's adapted the last 2 years, taking those teams with the Rams and how they've had success, you're looking at this is a guy who's kind of, I mean, obviously
he's like the nice Kyle Shanahan, right? Like McVay is so upbeat and positive.
But he won a Super Bowl.
Well, let me ask you.
He also lost a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's playing with house money.
We always argue that Shanahan needs an offensive coordinator. He just needs to be a head coach. How do you feel about that?
He couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it.
There's no. Yeah, he could not survive that. He would never. And I think I mean, if you looked at his first couple of years, I mean, excuse the Bobby Hoyer, Brian Hoyer world where he didn't have a quarterback. But once he had Jimmy, which was a quarterback who could win, regardless of what you might think of him, and he ran the outside zone, right? Which is what his dad ran, in Denver, and what he developed from when Mike was the OC for the Niners.
Right.
Anyways, so he ran the outside zone, and the outside zone was a great offense, right? And you have great hard play action off of it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So then the league, as you say, Matt, adapted to the outside zone, and that started with McVay, who's basically was Kyle's water boy in Washington, as was Saleh, as was Matt Fleur, right? McVay had tons of success with the outside zone, went to the Super Bowl, and then Bill Belichick put a stop to that with essentially a bear front, right? A 6'2" bear front, or 4'6" bear front, and stopped it and taught the league here's how you here's how you shut it down. And then Kyle couldn't run the outside zone, and if you watch the last 3 seasons, there's no more ace formation outside zone or split back outside zone. Any of that stuff's gone. And then he started doing all this motion stuff, right? The orbit motion and all the weird shit. And he had great players because he had Brock Purdy, who was basically Kyle on the field, right? He saw the game like Kyle. He could process like Kyle. He made the right reads like Kyle. Jimmy had, a great jawline and would make some of the dumbest fucking plays imaginable, and Kyle was going to have an aneurysm on the sideline. Yeah. And Brock Purdy would run it the way it was supposed to be run. He would check down when it was supposed to be checked, and if it broke down, he had enough scoot and enough wiggle to make something happen. Right. So Kyle found Brock, and things started to click. And then you get CMC in the trade, right? And that is the catalyst. That's the cheat code, right? That's the guy that Kyle obviously knows because he was his babysitter, right? In Colorado, this is where McCaffrey's from. And McCaffrey comes in and unlocks everything, right? And then we crush everyone for half of one season until Brock goes down against the Eagles. And then the next season, just fuck everybody. Watch this, right? And then CMC goes out, and we don't have this superpower, right, that creates mismatches and misalignments for Kyle to use. And I personally think when that super toy was taken away, he had a hard time adjusting, as any coach would, right? You're like, oh my God, I don't have this thing, and then it gets harder and harder and harder. Sorry. Anyways, my point is to Kyle having trouble last year. That makes a lot of. I didn't see all the games, so I can't speak to it, but that makes a lot of sense to me. And I think what you're going to see is a renewed Kyle Shanahan in this season because he doesn't have the pieces that he's used to have, and that he's going to reinvent himself again, because I think he's smart enough to know when the league has caught up to him, and that's what I'm excited about.
Cut to the clip of somebody resting their case in a movie. Okay.
Strickland, you are out of order. You're out of order. You're out of order. The whole trial is out of order. They're out of order.
Back to the Jimmy thing. It's like Jimmy, the Madden thing, when he would drop back, you know how you pick a play and you're just like, fuck it, I'm going to go to the 9 guy. I'm just going to lock in on him. Yeah. That was, you broke it down. He lost one of the Avengers last year.
100%.
And he didn't know what to do.
It's incredibly, and then you lose BA. So sorry, I could.
No, but speaking of this, let's just jump into this. So so this upcoming season, I love that you're drinking Kool-Aid. He's drinking Kool-Aid.
I love it.
Hey, Kool-Aid!
Yeah, fresh baked Kool-Aid wipes out thirst for you.
Both
What do
hands.
you
Day
think?
trip, Matt.
What do you
Too
think?
late, it's on a sponsor.
What are you thinking this year?
Record-wise?
Yeah. What do you think? How do we do? We bounce back? Are we smelling playoffs? We have the easiest record in the NFL this year, actually.
Easiest schedule?
Easiest schedule because we didn't make the playoffs.
Oh,
yeah. We're only playing 2 playoff
suck
teams.
like a fox. I mean, I know 10-7 is a cop-out, so I'm going to say I'll go 11-6. 11-6. 11-6.
This is recorded forever.
We win the
We're
NFC West. We're the 3 seed.
Ooh, I'd like to introduce him to a guy named Reggie Watkins who's been on the pod.
So that's my prediction. And then, but then with Jimmy, when he was playing, every time he dropped back, I was nervous.
Right.
I don't know how you. And every time the ball was left his hand, I was nervous.
Yeah.
I do not feel that way about Brock. Like when he drops back and he throws it, I feel like the ball is going to be in the right place and going to the right person.
I think we just get more nervous when it's crunch time in the fourth quarter. Can he bring us back? That's sort of that Montana-esque. It's a big ask, but bringing a team, putting him on his back.
Where would you put Brock in the NFL? Would you put him in the top 10, top 15, top 5, top 20?
I would put him in the top 10. Definitely not top 5 right now.
Not top 5.
But I'm talking like 10, cusping around 10.
Yeah,
9,
that's And people say, don't pay him or whatever, but like, what are we talking about? He's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He knows this system. He runs this system. Kyle loves him. And being a starting quarterback in the NFL, there are only 32 of them in the world, right?
Right.
And there are 64, let's say, right? A starter and a backup, right? And
Backup's a better job.
Backup is a better job.
Yeah, Jason Garrett.
But then you imagine being, just for sake of argument, imagine being the 65th best person in the world at your job and you are unemployed. That is how hard it is to be. There's nothing harder in sports anywhere. Now, I don't care about hitting a fastball. I don't care about hitting a 100-mile-an-hour splitter. There is nothing harder than playing quarterback in the NFL.
That's why they get 20% of the cap.
And they should.
They cleared the decks to pay the guy.
But here's how we fix it. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
But here's how the NFL should fix it, right? The quarterbacks should be, in movie parlance, it's called breakage, right? The quarterbacks should not count against the cap.
Look at this.
This is some industry CNBC stuff.
And then we're fixed. Yeah. Because the problem is you pay these quarterbacks and then you can't pay anybody else, right? And if you don't have Tom Brady, you're fucked, right? And so if we just say, okay, great, salary cap as it is, except quarterbacks, they're on the side.
Love that.
And then it's solved. And then you can have a great quarterback and great players and great football, which is all we want.
You've heard it here first, folks. Breakage. Yeah. Quarterbacks don't count against the salary cap. I fucking love it.
And fix it in 15 seconds.
Okay, I know we got to kind of get you out of here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to do a segue here.
Talk all day.
Yeah, sorry.
Speaking of the top 65 players, we're going to cut to a little bit of your career here. Okay. We got to jam through some stuff here because we got you on. This is fucking amazing. Yeah. You spoke about Ray Ratto and talking to Will Clark and him, and you were a kid. And I'm going to do that right now real fast. Okay. You know how after a season, player coach, they get eliminated from the playoffs. They're in the locker room. It's very hardcore, and the reporters are asking them questions. Yeah. So I'm going to be the reporter, and you're going to be the star player here real fast. Okay. I'm sorry to ask you this. Yeah. But I wouldn't be doing my job.
Whatever you got, man.
If I didn't.
Oh, no.
Right.
People love fucking Dodgeball and We're the Millers.
Yes.
Is there going to be a sequel to either?
No.
No. Okay.
There was talk there was going to be a Dodgeball sequel. That is not happening.
Not to my knowledge. If there is, I won't be involved in it. I know that they hired a writer to take a swing at a pass. I think it was something that Vince was really keen on. But I think I said everything I need to say about adults playing dodgeball in one film.
I love it.
As an aside, can I ask, do you get residuals for the real Ocho?
No, I don't. My wife asks me this every August 8th. She goes, why are they not paying it? And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm so happy that they're doing it. It makes me happy every year to see it on ESPN. And I remember when I wrote it, I had a little crappy duplex apartment. Not crappy, it was fine. Sorry to my landlord at the time. And I remember they had ESPN2 had just come out, and they called it The Deuce. And I'm like, oh my God, somebody has to talk to somebody because that's not what you should be saying. And so then I just extended it into the script, and I'm like, 8 with the Ocho because that's ridiculous. And then it kind of went from there. But it makes me really happy when they do it.
Live from Las Vegas, it's the Las Vegas International Dodgeball Open here on ESPN 8, the Ocho.
It's a real thing. Like if you watch ESPN, it'll pop to like Like
August 8th, they do it. Yeah.
I was thinking like Chad Ochocinco too.
Yeah, Ocho. And then on Miller's, we actually wrote a sequel to it, which I thought was really good. And it ended up being like we couldn't get everybody back. Everyone kind of went off, and then it's one of those things where after a certain amount of time, like I'm not sure anybody really wants to see the sequel.
Got it.
But it was a really funny script and a cool idea, and
that thing's on cable all the fucking
that's what
time.
I'm told.
All the time.
I haven't seen like when
my 90-year-old mother, loves that movie because of cable, just because it runs constantly.
Can I say something about your 90-year-old mother?
Yeah, talk to me.
She has exceptional taste in cinema.
Yeah, she does.
I just want to say that.
She does.
Off the top. But what was fun about making Miller's was a great experience. But what was the most fun, which is the best part about making film, from my perspective, is when you play it for an audience. So when you're making your movie, you're testing, you're bringing in audiences who haven't seen it before, and you're watching it play. And the best thing about making comedy, especially, is when you're watching your movie play for an audience, like 400 people in a theater, and it's working, right?
Yeah.
And they're laughing,
Yeah.
and they're laughing, and you know the best part is they're laughing, and you know there's just a giant haymaker about to come, right? And then bang, it hits, and you see 400 people rock with laughter at the same time.
Yeah.
Nothing
That's
better.
it. That's it.
That's the top.
That's it.
That's the top. Yep.
That happened to me at that film festival.
Yeah,
last week.
so you know the feeling.
I know the feeling.
Isn't it great?
It's fucking great.
It's the best.
And you just know it's coming.
Yeah.
Or when they laugh and you're like, oh shit, they thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Speaking of We're the Millers, I just wanted, here's another hard-hitting question. Does it blow your mind that Will Poulter, Kenny, the awkward teen who gets his balls bitten by a spider, is now a fucking sex symbol leading man? Is that? Do you take credit for this?
Of course not. Will is the greatest person. He is so kind. He was raised so well, and he's a sweetheart. He came in to audition for Kenny and didn't look anything like I'd pictured Kenny. I didn't even know he's British. He came in and he just did it, and I was like, oh my God, that's the guy. And he goes, right, well, thanks. And I was like, oh my God, what? You're not American? And he was just a pleasure. And I'm going to go see Warfare this afternoon.
I saw it 2 days ago. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, okay. I don't know very much about it except I know he's in it. And,
he's great.
And then and he's and then he got all muscle bound for his Marvel thing, and he's.
Oh, is Warfare the new Alex Garland movie?
Yeah. It's it couldn't happen to a nicer, more talented, better person. And they're not all like that in the business, as you guys know.
Got it.
And I'm so happy for him. That's my answer.
Can I back up 1 second?
Yeah, please.
I love origin stories, man.
Yeah.
You're from Orinda.
Yeah.
The number of guys that have come to Hollywood from Orinda, they're like
it's
three.
like you and me, right?
Yeah, you and me.
Yeah.
Got Jason Blumenfeld. I don't know if you've run across Jason. He was my class. He's been a very successful assistant director in town for a long time.
Is that right? No, I don't know.
But there are very few.
Yeah.
How did this happen? And by all accounts, you've done better.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, but graduated high school and then went to undergraduate school in upstate New York, a tiny school called Union College in Schenectady. I think we talked about that. And then I went to film school at USC. I went to the Peter Stark producing program, just a 2-year MFA. And it teaches you
But
both.
something you always knew you wanted to do. When you reached out to Ray Ratto and said, hey, I want to talk to Will Clark.
I've always sort of been that way. If I like something or I'm interested in, I just go after it.
Anyone in your family creative?
My mom and dad were hippies from the 60s in the Bay, but they were always super supportive. I grew up in a house where it was never who do you think you are and make sure you have a real job. It was always like you can do anything. And
you should have talked to our father.
Yeah, you should have talked to my dad.
No.
Was there? I remember when I was a kid. I remember when I was like 8. I mean, I always wanted to be a professional baseball player. But I remember I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I remember saying to my dad that I understood for the first time that was a job.
Yes.
And I said, I don't know what I want to do, but I want to do that. Yeah. Was there a movie? Like for me, it was Raiders.
Well, it's so funny. It's very similar. So I saw Raiders in the theater in North Carolina. It was a summertime thing. We were on vacation. And my mom, in my house, movies had a lot of importance, right? So both my parents are big readers. So there's a lot of reading and but movies mattered. Movies weren't just entertainment, right?
Yeah.
So we'd go see films, and on the drive back, my mom would say, "What was your favorite scene? What did you like?" And then I started to think about film as scenes, and if there's scenes, then somebody has to write those scenes. And then I started to understand that there's an author behind it, right?
Right.
And so could always write from a pretty young age. I could always do that pretty well. And then I always loved movies, just like every kid. And growing up in the Bay Area, there was, ILM, and there was Lucasfilm, and and Amblin and all this stuff. So I've always loved them. I could always write a little bit, and then I just sort of did it. In undergraduate school, there was no film program, so I kind of invented my own club and got money and misappropriated college funds to buy a camera, and I made a terrible short film and kind of just kind of progressed from there. But it never occurred to me that I couldn't, or that I shouldn't, and so I just kept doing it. And then I was really bad when I started, like real bad. And then I just got better and better, or less bad and less bad and less bad. And then got really lucky. Like, I think anybody who talks about this, at least for me, the success in this field, or really any field, comes down to three things. And it's probably in equal measure, which is hard work, luck, and talent. And there's really only one of those you can control, which is the hard work part, and that's what I do. I just try to outwork everybody.
That's awesome. Before we get you out of here, we got can we do a segment to you, brought to you by Day Trip?
Day Trip?
Escape the Ordinary.
Let's do it.
Oh wow, a little sound effect. Yeah. That actually was a day trip for people listening.
Day Trip, happier is happiness. We're going to do a new segment.
This is delicious.
Yeah, it's good, right? Mm.
I love it.
This is fucking awesome.
This is the CBD sparkling water, not to be confused with their prebiotic that's better than Poppy.
Oh my God.
We're going to introduce a new segment. First time here on the Beat LA podcast, because we have a guy, sports, pop culture, movies. This is called Start One, Bench One, Cut One.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like the Mary Fuck Kill.
Yeah. Start One, Bench One, Cut One. Okay. We're going to do sports films.
Okay.
And you're playing this game too.
Oh, great.
The Natural, Field of Dreams, Bull Durham.
Well, this is going to be easy for me, because Bull Durham is my favorite film of all time.
Favorite film of all time?
Yes. I'm not saying it's the best movie ever made.
No, I get it.
But it is my favorite film. And so when I went to SC for film school, I had to, this is like another Ray Ratto story. I had to write an essay about my favorite film or filmmaker. And so I wrote, I got in touch with Ron Shelton.
Okay, yeah.
And I reached out to him, and he said, "Hey, come on down." And he was shooting
Inspiring.
Play It to the Bone with Antonio Banderas
Yeah,
and Woody
I
Harrelson. He said,
remember.
"Come on down to the set."
Oh, that's
I had
incredible.
never been on a set before. He's like, "Come on down to the set. We'll bore you all day." And I went down to this. I interviewed Ron Shelton at his offices, and then I went to set.
Yeah.
It was the greatest experience. For my birthday recently, I just got a giant French version of the Bull Durham poster framed. It's going up in my office.
It's my favorite baseball movie.
It's my favorite movie. Like, and I, when I say it in film circles, people kind of, laugh up their sleeve about it. But I'm like, fuck you, it's great.
I can see it because tonally, like your movies kind of mess with tone in a great way. They're funny, but they're action. There's heart to them.
Thanks.
Bull Durham kind of it's impossible to categorize.
It's the best. It can do all of it.
So
right?
you're starting Bull Durham.
Yes.
Okay, bench one, cut one. The Natural, Field of Dreams.
Boy, that is tough. Oh God, that's simple. I mean,
I know it's crazy. You just got to play. You got to do it. It's okay.
Okay, bench. I will bench Field of Dreams and cut The Natural.
What?
Okay.
Oh, I would reverse. I was going to start Bull Durham, bench The Natural, cut Field of Dreams. But
it's so close.
It's so close.
It's 51, 49.
Yeah, it's not like you gave him like little big league or something.
That's so hard.
Can I make it easier with football? Can I do one more bench one? Start one, bench one, cut one?
Yeah.
Any given Sunday, Jerry Maguire, Friday Night Lights.
Oh, this is easy. I would say start Friday Night Lights. I think it's the best football film ever made.
Okay.
I would bench Jerry Maguire, which I fucking love.
Yep.
Love.
So they're still on the team.
It's a great script. It's a great story about the script. Anyways, and then Any Given Sunday, people love that movie.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah. If we put We Are Marshall in there, would it change things?
I love McGee.
I wouldn't put that one. Okay. See, that was a good segment, right?
It's a great segment.
That's so tough.
Day Trip.
The Natural, Field of Dreams is brutal.
Yeah.
Are you ever going to make a sports movie? I know Dodgeball's a sports movie,
It is.
but are
It
you
is
going to
technically
make
a sports movie.
Yeah. Are you going to make another sports movie? And who would it be about? If you were going to do like a biopic on somebody or an actual real event in history of sports?
Never say never. I love sports, and I think I would I guess I would be really worried about doing it poorly.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to do. And so when I see a great sports movie, obviously like Voltron, but like Miracle.
We're just trying to write a movie with you here.
Let's do it. There's one that I actually have thought about, doing, which is a biopic about Joe Namath. I think would be really interesting. Because when he came up in the AFL, right, he was among the first sort of sex symbol football players, right? Sex symbols athletes, right? He did, he posed basically naked in a mink coat for, I forget what brand or something. And obviously
did something similar.
He builds
that era.
He builds it. You build to the Jets versus the Colts and Johnny Unitas and all of that. But also he came from Alabama. He played at Alabama. He was kind of a poor kid. He had giant hands, which is why
he's part of that Pennsylvania quarterback crowd, right?
Pennsylvania. He goes from Pennsylvania to Alabama, Bear Bryant, and then goes to New York, right? He gets involved with the mob a little bit and nightclubs and becomes this, larger than life figure. I always thought that was kind of a cool area to mess around with.
It is. It's right when football, he really took football
There was
to the
merger
next
between
level.
the AFL and the NFL into one. Yeah,
he was the star that they brought on
kind of brought it into entertainment.
If we did a movie, speaking about the Bay Area here, we were talking about this. I have 3 quick ones. Obviously, you could do a Giants the Will Clark story, okay?
Yeah, all day long.
And it culminates with
we call it Nuschler? What do we call it?
With Nuschler. It's called Nuschler, and the climax in the third act is against Mitch Williams when he hits the ball up the middle in Game 5.
He said it's done, and he did it.
I thought a Warriors one, where you could do a Succession miniseries around the drama of the KD sweepstakes.
Oh, yeah.
Signing him in the Hamptons, the rich get richer theme.
Yes.
But Paul and I were thinking, if you were going to do a biopic about the 49ers, the perfect team and year to do it is about the 1988 49ers. It opens with an opening scene, 1987. They lose to Minnesota.
I hated that fizzle in the drizzle. I hated that. That was devastating.
Right. Steve Young comes in pissed. So they start that 88 season 6-5.
Yeah.
Montana Young.
Yeah.
He's alternating starters.
Yes, I remember that.
Somehow they get through that and get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
They beat the Bears in -26.
I remember that game.
Go to the Super Bowl. John Candy's out there. They have the drive.
Yeah.
Final scene, Walsh retires.
Yes. That's great.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's start writing.
Season on the brink.
Where is the script? Where is the pilot? Let's go.
Hey, do you have the naked pic of B. Arthur on your phone?
I do. No. Actually, I have. I could probably pull it up on the text chain.
Did you give context for why you just asked for a naked pic of B. Arthur?
Ryan Reynolds starred in the film Red Notice, did you really text him if you want to do it? You don't have to call me. Just send me a topless picture of B. Arthur, and I know you're in.
Yes.
And then you woke up the next morning, and Ryan Reynolds sent you a topless picture of B. Arthur.
That's 100% true.
Because Paul wants to see that picture.
Yes.
He was asking me.
I'll send it to you.
And you know the lore.
Yes, 100% true.
Because I came up in the sitcom world, and this thing about B. Arthur would leave a shit in Betty White's trailer toilet.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they didn't like each other. So she would just leave
upper deck.
Yeah, in her trailer toilet.
Do you have a vendetta against Mitch Hurwitz?
No. Why would I have a vendetta against Mitch Hurwitz?
Because everyone says that he's credited with the Jason Bateman comeback with Arrested Development, and I think the real OGs know that it was Pepper Brooks.
Looks like Peter LaFleur has actually blindfolded himself.
Yeah, he will not be able to see very well, Cotton.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Let me try to start some shit, Nick. I'm sorry.
Bateman came in. He'd been out of the game a little bit, and he came in and he read for 2 roles, and he read he read for a thing that I ended up cutting, but I cast him as Pepper Brooks, and he was amazing.
He's got to make a play here, Pepper. Word, Cotton. Looks like it's going to be a 2-on-1, a menage a trois of pain. Usually you pay double for that kind of action, Cotton.
He's a Dodgers fan, so fuck him forever, but he's an amazing talent. He's so funny. So he came in to do a little role in Central Intelligence where he played Dwayne Johnson's high school bully.
Yeah.
And the scene happens where Dwayne's like, obviously he was the fat kid in high school, got picked on and got bullied by Jason Bateman. Then he transforms himself into the Rock, but on the inside he's still that kid, right? Yeah. And he goes to Jason Bateman's office, and Jason Bateman's character apologizes for being a bully, right? He says, "I'm so sorry," and and like really extends this olive branch, and it's this beautiful scene. And then as soon as Dwayne's character kind of leans in, Jason Bateman pulls the rug and goes, "Fuck you," and shreds him.
Yeah.
And Jason Bateman, we shot that scene for 2 days, and the shit that he said was so funny. I couldn't stop laughing. It was so dark because he just kind of went off script, and he's so talented. He's just like, and then I could say, and he just absolutely vivisected Dwayne all day. Dwayne couldn't keep a straight face because Dwayne loves nothing more than being made fun of, and he has such a great sense of humor about himself. But Jason Bateman has just knives out and sliced him up, and I was laughing so hard. So he's one of my favorite actors.
He's a Dodgers fan,
super
you know.
fun. I know we go to the games.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Look at you guys.
But he's
finding peace in the Middle East.
Yeah, it's not great because. I mean, it's the fucking Dodgers. So.
What sports analogy do you use the most when you direct? I always like to say, "Let's push this ball downfield." Let's push this. Do you have one?
I usually say, let's not pull a hamstring.
Let's not pull a hamstring.
Everybody just nice and easy. Don't pull a hammy. We're just gonna go.
I like also saying to my DP sometimes we're gonna run the picket fence here when it's a complicated shot.
Don't get caught watching the
pen. Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. Okay,
yeah, that's good.
I think we kind of knocked it out.
All right, man.
I have so many questions. I'm gonna say one thing other than the fact from Orinda. So, your career has been incredibly cool from a standpoint of a fellow writer, which I guess I can say, because you have mostly made your own movies that are not based on pre-existing IP remakes. You've written and directed them. And you've kept genres alive that I love.
Thank
you. The
I
action comedy, the comedy. Anyway, great to meet you.
Thank you. Likewise,
thank you
Paul.
for doing that.
It's been such a pleasure. I'll come back anytime.
Rawson, it's good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, go Niners.
Bang, bang, bang.
Go Giants. Go Dubs.
Go Dubs.
All right, folks, we're back. What a great interview with Rawson. Thanks again for coming on, my guy. He really broke it down on the 49ers offense.
It's unbelievable.
In a way that I haven't heard any of my friends or any beat writer, any Dave Lombardi, Kawakami do before. That was fucking great.
It was amazing. I'm going to watch them with different eyes this year.
Yeah,
it makes me hopeful. Maybe Kyle will adjust. Maybe the fact that Kyle kind of has an offensive coordinator, the fact that he brought in, what's his name, Kubiak in name only, and then he's got Saleh, so he doesn't have to freak out about the fact that he's got a DC who doesn't know what he's doing.
You bring up a really good point, and something I want to touch on a bit. I know we were talking about the 49ers here, but the draft is Thursday. This pod's probably coming out Thursday or Friday, but day 2, day 3 draft picks, is there a 49er outside of round 1 that you're feeling, or any position, what you're looking for?
I'm so glad you asked that, Matt. It's almost like you knew that to ask me that, and we talked about this ahead of time.
Yeah.
So that I've had a lot of agita over the fact they lost Dre Greenlaw.
Dre Greenlaw was like a stepdad who used to date your mom back in the day.
Right. He's the brother from another mother. I love Dre. I loved how he liked to pick fights. I thought he was the heart and soul of that defense.
Yeah.
And so I want a linebacker.
Okay.
And the guy that I hope they pick, because I'm like a grandmother at a racetrack who picks the horse based on a name, right? So I want them to get a guy named, and he's on a lot of mock drafts for them, Chris Pooh, P-O-O-H, Paul Jr. Chris Pooh Paul Jr. He's a linebacker from Ole Miss.
Okay.
And Chris Collins, our friend of the pod, is a big fan of this kid. Says he's got a big motor.
Yep.
Says he's got an angry streak. And as he said, if you survived your childhood with your nickname as Pooh, you're not taking shit from anybody, right?
Hey, listen, this makes me think of Pooh Richardson, who was at UCLA and played in the NBA.
Sure. Makes me think of Shaq the other night on
What's
NBA
his name
Tonight.
Again? Tell me his name again one more time.
Go take a crap in the middle of the broadcast.
You all right, big fella? You all right? No, catching a crap?
Go ahead, keep talking, Chuck.
Yeah, we on TV.
I know what we're doing. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's that olive oil you've been drinking.
I know.
Hey, take some matches with you.
What's his name again?
Chris Pooh Paul Jr.
Pooh Paul. I don't understand the Pooh Paul. Why can't he?
I don't know.
Chris Pooh Paul Jr.
Pooh Paul Jr.
So instead of Pooh Paul, I guess he had to have the Chris in there.
Yeah, Chris Pooh Paul Jr. Anyway, I pick guys based on their name, but apparently this kid's legit, and he would pair nicely with Fred Warner.
All right, you heard it here first, folks. Pooh Paul Jr. Paul,
listen, that's going to be the name of my child.
Yeah,
Pooh Paul Jr.
Pooh Paul Jr. I got a couple other name ideas, folks. We're going to get into pet peeves here. We want to thank first off our old sponsor, Pet Pro Supply Co.
Yep.
For years, they were years. They were great. Thanks for all the dog food that you used to send us and stuff. But today's pet peeve for this episode is brought to you by Day Trip. The company was founded on the belief that the happier you are, the healthier you are. Escape the ordinary. I got a pet peeve. You got a pet peeve?
I have a pet pleasure.
A pet pleasure? Okay.
Can we do it?
I got a pet peeve. You got a pet pleasure.
Okay, I'm going to start with the pleasure, I guess you're asking. So I was on the plane coming back from Boston on Sunday, and one of my big pet peeves has been the fact that I can't watch a live sporting event on an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
United Airlines, God love them, they now have streaming capability on their Wi-Fi that allowed me to watch the whole fucking Warriors game. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Aaron White's texting me the whole time, you're not watching the game, I guess. I'm like, because he's probably like, JetBlue's got real TV.
Yeah.
But United, I can now watch a sporting event. So good work, United.
Great. All right, Paul, I love that. I got a pet peeve. And it's so funny because we talked about Bull Durham.
Yeah.
With Rawson.
Yeah.
A week ago, I'm watching Bull Durham. They had it on MLB Network. They also had it on True TV. The television cut of Bull Durham is so bad. They obviously take out the nudity and the swearing, but they take out so much stuff. Remember how these TV cuts of movies?
Nudity in it? Was there any real nudity?
Well, they take out the sex scene.
Okay.
Lollygaggers, you fucking guy. Obviously, a lot of the curse words, but some of these movie cuts, the movie is destroyed for television. And it just pissed me off. I don't know who's working at standards and what's that called?
Standards and practices, maybe?
Yeah. But it's an absolute atrocity what they do to the television version of Bull Durham on television. In fact, if you see it on, don't watch it. Just don't watch it.
What about when it's on MLB Network?
Awful. Again, they destroy that movie. They cut so much stuff out of it.
If only we lived in a world, Matt, where you could stream anything you want whenever you wanted in its original form. I
got another pet peeve, Paul. We did a reel on the City Connect jerseys 2 weeks ago. We had so many people coming for us. Like, we fucking hate the Giants. We don't know what they're talking about. Tell me you don't know baseball without telling me you don't know baseball was one of the comments. And I got to say this to all those listeners, fuck off. I seriously, go fuck yourselves.
Hey, there's no such thing as bad publicity, man. That thing
went
blew up.
viral. You know what? It's like that in the interview, they hate us because they ain't us.
Yeah.
Hate us because they ain't us.
Exactly. They hate us because they ain't us. That's a great saying, okay?
Hate us because they ain't us.
Peanut butter and jealous, these fucking guys. It's okay to not like everything about your team. It's okay. Like, people just love everything about a team.
As Oscar Wilde once said, Matt, the only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about.
I understand. I should let it go, but it kind of irked me. It kind of really got me.
Wait till you get the feedback on this jacket. It's going to divide people, I feel like.
Best things we saw. Do you want to recommend anything, TV or film?
This is your area, Matt. I will say that my wife always says I'm a witch because she'll think something and then like the next thing you know, like it'll happen in the real world. Well, I watched Conclave on the plane before I watched the Warriors game, and then the Pope died.
That's incredible.
Isn't that weird?
It's incredible.
I like to think everything's about me, but I feel bad about the whole thing. I'm sorry that it happened.
Like, listen, Pope Francis was one of my favorite popes.
It's clearly J.D. Vance's fault, not mine. He dropped the trophy when Ohio State came, and then he shook hands with the Pope, and then he was dead. It was like a Final Destination movie starring J.D. Vance.
J.D. Vance killed the Pope.
Without question.
Yeah, and I love Pope Francis. He was like progressive. I was born Roman Catholic. I was like an altar boy wearing a cassock and carrying the cross. But he was a great Pope. R.I.P. Pope Francis.
Anyway, I saw Conclave on the plane.
Wait, had you not seen?
I hadn't seen it, and
you hadn't seen it.
I hadn't seen it, and I felt like not having seen it that it probably should have won Best Picture because it's the kind of movie that should win Best Picture. But now having seen it, I think Honora should have won.
Interesting.
Because, and I won't give anything away if you haven't seen it yet. They didn't. As I like to say, they did not stick the landing. They did not land the plane. I did not like how it ended, and it colored the whole thing for me.
This is a conclave, Aldo. It's not a war.
It is a war, and you have to commit to a side.
You know what? First off, I want to say, Paul, that was a great take. Great take on Conclave and Honora. I just wish you gave us that take 4 months ago when it was in the fucking zeitgeist. He just said, I don't know if you've seen Conclave. Everybody's fucking seen it.
No, they haven't. Conclave's gonna fucking blow up this week because everyone who didn't watch it is gonna watch it because they want to know what's going on with the new Pope.
Totally.
Right?
Actually, 100%.
So I'm clairvoyant.
You're clairvoyant.
I was a history major. To predict the future, you have to understand the past.
Boom. Crossfire on CNN. I love it.
Oh, man.
By the way, I agree with you. They didn't stick the landing there.
Yeah.
I remember after I saw it, I was At the end of that movie, I was like Googling things about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Could that happen?
Yeah.
Could that possibly happen? And the answer is no.
Yeah. Why can't he just be the Pope for his fucking things? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. for the regular things.
I had a slightly separate problem with it that I won't get into. If you watch it, we'll get this reel going.
But you love how like it was like Succession, but with the papacy.
I loved everything about it other than that.
Yeah. Paul, there's so much good TV right now. It feels like the pandemic. I'm just going to name a bunch of things. Best things. I don't know if anyone's a Righteous Gemstones fan. I kind of fell off, but they're season 4, episode 1, directed by Danny McBride, starring Bradley Cooper. It's a flashback episode. In a vacuum, that one episode should get nominated for an
Can
Emmy.
I watch
Agreed.
it if I haven't watched the first 3 seasons?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've been wanting to watch it, but I can't catch up on shows
that first episode's great.
Okay.
Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple, starring John Hamm. Paul, you always speak of your love of television shows with rich people behaving badly. This fucking show was made for you. I love it. I think John Hamm's great in it. You know, he plays a Robin Hood character, a hedge fund manager that gets a divorce from a hot woman, and now he's back on his own, and he gets fired and decides to start stealing from the rich. And it's very sort of a Succession meets Robin Hood, and it was built for you, Paul.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like John Hamm. Sure. They're doing a Friends and Neighbors event at this brand new McMansion house just above my house. I took a walk this morning, and there was all this signage for it. So maybe I'll go crash that tonight, and we can do a remote.
Can you invite me?
You just show up, see what happens.
Paul never invites me to anything.
I'm not invited, man. I'm just a neighbor. I'm gonna call the cops on them and see what happens.
If you guys are looking for something else, Mobland on Paramount.
Is that good?
With Tom Hardy, Helen Mirren, and Pierce Brosnan. Paramount just gets fucking movie stars for all their TV shows.
It's incredible, by the way.
It's great.
So, but I hate Guy Ritchie, and Guy Ritchie keeps making movies or making television shows.
No. I think he's actually found his wheelhouse. I'm with you about Guy Ritchie, but remember, The Gentleman was good.
I didn't like The Gentleman. I couldn't stick with it. I tried.
I love Mobland because Tom Hardy. He's actually great in it. He's fucking great in it. The Last of Us. Holy shit, folks! I won't spoil it for you, but your boy Craig Mazin's killing it this year.
Grad, yep.
And then Hacks and in the studio.
Okay.
Yeah, those are all winners.
It's a lot of TV to watch.
It's a lot of TV to watch.
I hear you. Chris and I, we can't decide. I think our next one's Adolescence, based on we're finishing up The Agency, which we're enjoying.
Loved it.
A little dense,
but
from a
tasty.
storytelling standpoint, but
real tasty.
But good. You talk about Paramount. Paramount Plus. Everything we watch is on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's my pet peeve. Why is Netflix $16 a month now? I don't even watch it.
Yeah, I hear you.
You can watch Red Notice though, and you should. It's a very fun throwback movie.
I hope this compliment right now it eases the pain of whatever's happening right now. But
oh my God, I'm bracing myself.
You should be Michael Fassbender's stand-in.
That's a nice thing, Matt.
Yeah, on set you should be his stand-in because you look good.
When they make the movie of George W. Bush throwing that pitch,
yeah,
why wouldn't they cast me in that?
Fuck yeah,
right?
Hey, random topic, random piece of information that we're going to leave the podcast with. You know what I read the other day? You know who Stanley Kubrick's first choice to play Tom Cruise character in Eyes Wide Shut was?
I have no idea.
He wanted Steve Martin to play the lead in Eyes Wide Shut.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah. But he ended up giving it to Tom Cruise. Yeah, that would have been something.
A totally different movie.
Totally different
movie.
Should
make a sequel. Oh, one other pet peeve, Matt.
Yeah.
Tariffs.
Tired. You're not a fan?
I'm just tired.
Jesus Christ.
Tariffs. I don't like what it's doing to the stock market. I don't like what it's doing. Everybody's fucking agitated right now.
Yeah, it's tough. Bradley Beal of the Phoenix Sun, they call him the human tariff, what he's doing to that team with his contract. Folks, I want to shout out real quick. I want to shout out Day Trip. Thanks for sending us some really cool stuff. We got the hats. We got the cans. It's delicious and nutritious, and it makes you feel good. Paulie, God bless you. Have a great time in Japan.
Thanks, Matt. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe we'll even do a remote from over there. We'll see.
Yeah. Domo arigatou gozaimasu.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks for our guests, by the way.
Rawson,
guest.
you did it. Good stuff.
Go Mats. Go Miramati Matadors.
Hey, beat LA.
Beat LA.
The longest part ever. Longest part ever song. It's the longest part ever.